hydrophobia.
You know, it isn't anxiety. There's something else going on here.
So to him, that was part of his journey of how he got these guys identified and then taken away. So we're going to make it so it's as easy for you to have that go on. Hopefully, by revealing techniques and information. For Swedenborg, a lot of it was just learned. Once he knew what was going on, it was a lot easier to deal with. So another thing that evil spirits do is pervert what's good. So they try to block truth, but they pervert what's good. Secrets of Heaven 18:20. Evil spirits never fight against anything but what we love. The more passionately we love something, the more bitterly they fight it. Evil demons combat anything good that touches our hearts. I got to stop talk about these. He talks about evil spirits and evil demons. Those are technical terms in Swedenborgianese. Evil spirits are mean people that focus on your thoughts. Evil demons are mean people that focus on your hearts. And in our first episode, how to deal with evil spirits, we went into that more. But these are technical terms. These all used to be people. Now, just like, there's loan sharks and stuff preying on people. These are preying on us across the veil. So, evil demons combat anything good that touches our hearts. Evil spirits combat anything true that touches our hearts. As soon as they become aware of something we love, no matter how small, or smell out anything dear and pleasing to us, they immediately attack and try to destroy it. In the process, they are trying to destroy the whole person, because our life consists in what we love. Nothing could possibly give them more pleasure than to destroy us. So it seems like a shark, doesn't it? That they can sniff out anything, sort of like a bully can tell where you're insecure. And they could tell, this person cares about this, we're going after it. So if you happen to notice the things you love in your life being attacked inside you, there's a reason for it. Right, that this is part of the tactics. Secrets of Heaven 741. The tests that we undergo, and there's other words for that too. Here we use tests. The tests that we undergo are nothing else than battles between the evil spirits and angels who are present with us. The evil spirits summon up every wrong that we have ever done or even considered from childhood on. So they stir up both what is evil and what is false in us and condemn us for it. Nothing gratifies them more. It is the central pleasure of their lives. Interesting that, and this is something Swedenborg says across the board, you got angels, you got evil spirits. You might think angels would be the ones that are interested in saying, you did this thing wrong. We're so good. Why'd you do this? You're wrong. Swedenborg says, it's the evil spirits. They're the ones who like to condemn you for things. And that's the central joy of their life, is to call you evil, which I think is cool, because it's so often people kind of come under this guise of, I'm so good and I just want to tell you how evil you are because that's the right thing to do. But actually, that's not how the angels do it. That's how hell does it. So don't say that next time somebody condemns you for something, but keep it in your mind. All right? So then, moving on, spiritual experiences were explained 348a and through 349a. For evil spirits are even gifted with a cunning nature that one would never believe possible, seizing upon anything whatever that a person is thinking and transforming it into something evil, and this in an instant. Some do this with such slyness and with such a poisonous skill that they at first appear as good angels. They are the worst kind, deceiving those off guard with tricks that one could never have thought possible unless taught by God the Messiah. Again, thinking about if you were visiting a big city as a tourist and you knew nothing about the city, you could be prey to a lot of things, right? There's people who are looking for clueless tourists. Similarly, spiritual world, you have these guys circling, trying to mess people up. And there you start to get a sense of the overall mission to kind of keep people down. And look, all the misery that we see in life, isn't so much of it sort of mysterious in origin? Like, why are we so upset about things? Why aren't we just happy with things? Is this a part of the whole thing? That's what we're going to look at, and we're going to look at it deeply now, because that was one technique, but we actually found a lot of techniques that they use, and we're going to give them all to you because we're a nonprofit and we give stuff out for free. So let's take a look now at lies for food. So this is a really big deal. We found this folder. It's the same one in that picture. The spider's on the back. You just can't see it. It's right here. that this is top secret stuff. These are the techniques that hell uses to make us and the rest of the world miserable. Would you like to dig into it? This is tactical stuff. We can learn a lot here. So I'm just going to throw my folder on the table, open it up. All right, here we go. First, this is the first piece of intelligence we had. This is an experience Swedenborg had. Some distance above my head was a crowd of people who were influencing my thoughts and holding them captive, so to speak, so that I was very much in the dark. They pressed down on me fairly heavily. The spirits around me were likewise being held more or less captive by them, so that they could hardly think anything that did not pour in from those others. The tactic is keep people in the dark. And simultaneously, this is a heavy topic, and it really, you do, regardless of what you believe about the cause, you do see this phenomenon in the world of people just being weighed down in their lives. And juxtapose that with how silly this folder thing is. It's just a weird night. Okay, so they keep us in the dark, right? The folder is silly. The information is real. Let's take a look at the next technique, which is create a fog of emotional confusion. As soon as evil spirits detect a trace of conscience, no matter how imperfect, they take our misconceptions and weaknesses and shape them into a fog of emotion, which they use to block and distort the light of truth, or else they torture us with anxiety. Another device they use is to train our thoughts on a single issue with no let-up. They fill it up with crazy notions and at the same time secretly tie our cravings into the insanity. They have countless other underhanded methods as well, which could never be described intelligibly. Little of this reaches our conscious awareness, only in its most general outlines, and it is our conscious awareness of right and wrong, our conscious, more than anything else that these evil spirits take the greatest delight in destroying. So there you had he gave a couple in a row. That was Secrets of Heaven 1820, which that's a big, long number. We quoted a few times here. It's just this awesome rundown of this is how they're messing you up. This is what they're doing to you. This is how they're going after you. So you know, so you can avoid it. But there he said, I like that one, focus your thoughts on one issue without any let up. How many people are walking around completely consumed in misery over one specific thing? I once did this thing where I was sort of gathering information, talking to people about what their sort of internal thought climate was like, and I would ask them, like, what's getting you down? What are your sort of negative head talk things? And everyone had a different one, but generally people came down to there was one thing that was like, this is the, like if I said it, they would know what I was talking about. And I see, is that hell working on everybody, training them into one thing? And it's sad because so many people could have really happier lives. That these are people who are good and they have good things in their lives, but they're so consumed by this stuff. So to me, if we can find the root of it in this stuff, then let's do it, man. We got a lot of happy life to live, and this stuff is just messing us up. All right, with that, on to the next secret, which is that they isolate and divide us. Spirits of a certain kind want to be in control and to be the only ones ruling everyone else. For that purpose, they arouse enmity, hatred, and conflict among others. I saw the fighting that results and in amazement asked who they were. I was told they are the type of spirits who stir up this sort of trouble because they aim to wield supreme and solitary power in accord with the maxim divide and conquer. So they want to get us against each other so that we all lose our minds, and then they can swoop in. Relationships, family stuff, do they get in there and mix things up? Swedenborg says yes. And the isolation is something that very distinctly Jerry saw when he was working around these schizophrenic patients. Here's what he had to say about it.
They do to us exactly what we do to cows. All right? So they come, they hit you with the negative crap, they generate the negative emotional energy, they take it away, right? They put you back out to pasture, you eat food, generate more, and then they isolate you, and that's what they don't want you having a family. They don't want you having friends. They want you isolated where there's no interference with what they're doing. So you talk to schizophrenic patients, they're always off by themselves in some dark corner somewhere. They don't want to talk to anybody. They don't want anything to do with anybody. And that's the way the voices want it. They don't want any interference with the draining of that energy.
So do yourself a favor and don't get too isolated. They're always trying to push us away from other people. Just, if you can, find a couple people that you can let into what's going on for you, because it does seem like the more you get isolated, the less you can gain perspective outside your own thoughts. Because if the problem is in your own thoughts, how are you going to use your own thoughts to get out of it? Just talking to someone else, hearing the way they think about life, noticing that what you're worried about, they're not worried about, can make it seem less powerful. It's important, and obviously must have some tactical advantage if hell is trying to push people away from it, right? I didn't write it down here, but false guilt is another thing that they do. They try to make people feel guilty, as you mentioned before, but even guilty about things they are not supposed to be guilty about. He describes spirits, Swedenborg describes spirits trying to make him feel guilty about things that you could, but you really don't need to. And they would try to push him. It's a negative emotion, so they try to get it. Also, they try to create anxiety, which is our next one of these guys.